Fox Sports welcomes you to Texas Motor Speedway, in a virtual sense, for the NASCAR Pro Invitational Series on iRacing. Well, this is week number 2 for this series, which began on FS1 last week with a real barn burner at Homestead Miami Speedway. A network television first. A NASCAR All-Star race from the virtual Homestead Miami Speedway, delivered by iRacing. I'm Mike Joy. He's Hall of Famer Jeff Gordon. We're practicing social distancing. 35 of NASCAR's top drivers for 100 laps.
Crew chief in the day for the one and only Chase Elliott. What do you think your odds are today? Poor, very poor.
I can promise you, from trying to get some experience on this thing all hours of the night, I think my wife is about to kill me.
All right, ready for the green flag. We're racing in Homestead.
Oh, that's a big wreck going on.
Haven't heard him say a word in quite a few laps, so he's, trying to get that win.
1 lap to go.
Dale Jr. saw right there. He moved to the inside, giving the outside to Denny Hamlin.
Pass the 8. Pass the 8.
They all but come together, and the winner is Hamlin.
Wow.
Getting the win on the final lap. That's what it's all about, beating Dale Jr. there at the end.
Got beat by Denny Hamlin. Guy's pretty good. A lot of fun, but I hope everybody's doing well out there and taking care of themselves and taking care of their families. Everybody stay safe, okay?
So we're all practicing social distancing, including the crowd here, for the NASCAR Pro Invitational from Texas Motor Speedway, presented on iRacing. And again, this week we'll peel back the curtain because we're in the Steve Burns studio at Fox Sports Charlotte. At least 6 feet from me is Jeff Gordon. Russell Wenrick, our stats man, hiding back there in the wings. Clint Boyer is going to join us from another room where he's operating his sim rig. And we're set to bring you 125 laps of action from the virtual Texas Motor Speedway. iRacing is not a video game. It's a subscription service. It's a very dedicated simulation. It's as close to real racing as you can get. And, Jeff, we certainly proved that last week.
We certainly did, Mike. We saw some amazing racing that looked very realistic at Homestead, coming down to some of the final laps. This is a great battle right here between our leaders, Dale Earnhardt Jr. in the number 8, Denny Hamlin in the 11 FedEx Toyota on the outside. Denny came in late, took fresher tires. That paid off for him. He gets to the outside. These two contact coming off of turn 4 to take the checkered flag for Denny Hamlin getting that big win. And
now, just minutes ago on NASCAR.com, 34 drivers participated in a qualifying race for the last 4 spots in this field. That's Kyle Weatherman getting into Justin Allgaier. Myatt Snyder went airborne. Tyler Ankrum. All those drivers went to the pits to get a reset for their car. Here's the onboard view from Justin Haley of that wreck.
And then we go up to our leaders. 4 of these guys, led by Ty Majeski, are trying to transfer through to the main event, but there's a lap car, the number 26 of Tyler Ankrum, trying to get his lap back because he was one of those earlier incidences. That stacked these guys up, and boy, did it get wild. See a little contact right there with Ty Majeski, and look at the 33 of Anthony Alfredo taking the lead from Ty Majeski. Now we've got Ryan Truex Jr. comes into the mix, and coming to take the white flag into turn 3, Ryan Truex Jr. gets turned by Derek Kraus. His chances of being in this main event are over.
So coming to the checkers, out front, Alex Labay, Anthony Alfredo on his bumper. Ty Majeski holds on for 3rd, and 4th is Ruben Garcia. Jeb Burton is the alternate should any of these cars fail virtual inspection. All right, we've got an onboard reporter, and it is once again.
Hey guys, man,
the one and only.
If you saw that qualifying race right there, this is exactly, we're in some sort of a warm-up right now, and it's exactly what we're doing right now. I've wrecked like 17 times already. Everybody's all over the place this week on their practice and the laps that they've put in. I am no exception. I slouched a little this week, so I got to make it up. My buddy Dave Portnoy, he's got a bet right now. I've got to beat Denny. That space shuttle that Denny won with last week, if I can somehow win this race today, he gets that space shuttle up there in New York. But, man, it's a lot of fun to be back. Texas is a tricky track. A lot of speed, going to be a lot of blocking and a lot of wrecking. Get ready.
Well, hopefully,
We're ready.
Hopefully it's a lot of fun. Now, we've got two of the best pit reporters in the business, and they had to go far afield to file their pre-race stories. Here's Regan Smith, and first, Michael Waltrip.
Hey everybody, I've made it over to Garrett Smithley's house, and I've walked in this game room here, and Garrett's going at it. You can see running some laps there at Texas, getting warmed up for today's race. Garrett, you were a big part of the story last week when we went racing down in Homestead, Miami. Are you going to be fast again today?
Yeah, man. Hey, did you bring me a taco? Can you be a little bit fast?
I'm not allowed to have food in the pits anymore. Talk to me about your morning. How have you prepped? Are you ready to go, buddy?
Yeah, I'm ready to go. I'm in my, well, it's not a race suit, but I'm comfortable, and that's what you got to be. I got my socks on. And hey, I saw you had a little bit of trouble getting into Denny's. Check this out. Adjustable seats, so you can slide right in.
How about that, Hamlin? Yours doesn't have that.
Michael, I found my way to Kyle Larson's shop. Kyle's getting ready. He's in his sim rig, getting ready to start the race here in just a little bit. Kyle, Denny Hamlin was riding in a spaceship last week, and we've heard about sim rigs all week long. Yours is a little bit different. Tell me about your sim rig here.
Yeah, mine's a lot different than Denny's. Honestly, you could have anything from a laptop at a desk or something like Denny's, but mine's, I feel like, somewhere kind of in the middle. It's a smaller rig, built by Chad Wheeler at WR1 Sims out of Oklahoma, and I like it a lot. It's been the best one that I've ever used. I love the big screen here. I've tried anywhere from 3 monitors to the headset that you wear for the VR, and I just seem to like this better. And the Fanatec wheel here and wheel and pedals is really nice. So I don't think it makes me any better, but it's definitely a nice rig. And I've got 2 over here, one for Owen. You can see he's got his pedal adjusters over there, but we might have to use that one for backup in case this one shuts down on me.
It's good to know. You're all set if you have a computer crash happen or anything like that. Mike, he is ready to go. It's almost time to get this race started. I'm going to get out of his hair, and let's get this race going.
Well, he sure is, Regan. His son Owen is what, 5? All right, here's your starting lineup. William Byron and Dale Earnhardt Jr. have won the front row. John Hunter Nemechek, Parker Kligerman, Landon Castle, and Bobby Labonte, Hall of Famer, there in the 3rd row.
Yeah, Mike, I'm so curious to see. We saw a different race and a different type of track service at Homestead versus Texas. We were already seeing some differences in qualifying as you see some of these guys. Daniel Suarez, Timmy Hill was so strong last week. Can't wait to watch him. Our very own Clint Boyer here in row 8.
Denny Hamlin, last week's winner in row 9. Matt DiBenedetto very active on social media today. There's Kyle Busch.
I don't think anybody's worked harder than Kyle Busch this week. All the practice laps that he's put in to try to improve his performance from last week.
Now, the race-in drivers don't automatically start in the back. They get to qualify along with everybody else. So you saw a couple of them up there in the 11th and 12th row. A lot of star power here.
And one of those, Mike, Ty Majeski, who's one of the best, one of the favorites for this race, as well as Alex Labbe, who transferred through, had a few issues in qualifying and are going to start from the back. That should be fun to watch.
We're going out to the woods of Concord, North Carolina, and the home of Motor Racing Outreach President Billy Malden, who will deliver today's invocation.
Gracious God and Heavenly Father, may today's event bring smiles, a touch of normalcy to us all as we unite together to overcome this tremendous challenge of our day. We pray for those who are battling COVID-19. Bring healing to their bodies, comfort to their families. And for all the healthcare workers and others on the front line, strengthen them and protect them. For all our Vietnam veterans, we remember you today and say thank you and pray for God's richest blessings upon your lives. Heavenly Father, may your peace be with us all. It's in your holy name we pray. Amen.
It's our honor to welcome back to NASCAR Rock and Roll Hall of Famer and founding member of the Grateful Dead. Here is Bob Weir with our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Thank you, Bob. It is just like any other Sunday on Fox. NASCAR's best are ready to go racing for you. Next. Welcome back to Texas Motor Speedway on Fox for the NASCAR Pro Invitational on iRacing, where you have a chance to win cash during today's race. Download the Fox Bet Super 6 app, correctly pick how 6 drivers will finish. You can play for free, and you could win up to $5,000. Now, if you could bet on individual drivers, and you can't, we do have some odds to show you. A $100 bet on Ty Majeski today would pay $350 to win.
Yeah, we saw how unpredictable this race was last week. We just showed you the starting lineup. So William Byron is on the pole. Dale Earnhardt Jr. is going to be on that outside front row, but some issues for Ty Majeski. So he's going to, if you're going to pick Ty Majeski, he's got a lot of work to do.
We have a very special guest to deliver the command. He is the Jeff Gordon of Fox NFL coverage, our lead analyst who led the Cowboys to 3 Super Bowl titles. Let's go to Dallas, Texas.
Hi, race fans. Troy Aikman here. And just wanted to say I sure missed those NASCAR days back when I was involved with Hall of Fame racing and the DLP number 96 car. We might have had a better chance of competing if we were doing it virtually like y'all are today. But anyhow, I've been asked to serve as the Grand Marshal, and there was a time when I thought that this role was pretty straightforward. But I saw a fellow Texan a few years back serve as the Grand Marshal, and I learned a thing or two. So here we go. All right, all right, all right. Gentlemen, start your engine!
Start up, crank it up.
Now, I know that's a tough act to follow, but I'm going to call on our crew chief, Larry McReynolds, to set the day up for us.
Well, Mike, the minute we finished up at Homestead last week, I started working on possible strategy for today. As Jeff Gordon pointed out, fresh tires won that race last week. I think they'll be important this week. In the end, it may be all about track position. Now let's take a look at our Blue Emu race analysis. 125 laps, we're going to go 187 miles. The fuel window, 60 to 65 laps. Pit road speed, 55 miles per hour. The question, 1 stop or 2? And these drivers and teams have a fixed setup. It's a predetermined setup by the iRacing officials. They cannot even make adjustments on pit stops, so that truly evaluates talent and experience in iRacing. And Mike, based on what Boyer said, reach up there and pull those belts tight one more time.
Well, it's going to be different because last week the drivers each got 2 complete resets, what iRacing calls a fast repair. You total your car, you push a button, you have a brand new one, you get back out there. This week, Jeff, only 1 fast repair.
Yeah, and Texas Motor Speedway repaved a few years ago. iRacing scans these racetracks to get an accurate measurement of the grip level and the smoothness of those surfaces, add in some data from the tires and the modeling of that. So the characteristics of this track are very much like the real thing. And what that does, Mike, makes a huge draft coming down the back straightaway, wide open through 3 and 4, all the way to turn 1. You're going to get a big run and some big blocks are going to happen. So, boy, be careful how big of a block you put. That could cost you the race.
William Byron, Dale Earnhardt Jr. on the front row in Chevrolets. Chevrolet for John Hunter Nemechek, and a Toyota for Parker Kligerman in row 2. Landon Castle, Bobby Labonte, Ryan Preece, Austin Dillon. Daniel Suarez rounds out the top 10 with Timmy Hill, who finished 3rd last week. Here they come off turn number 4 for 125 laps. We're racing in Texas.
Already a pretty exciting first lap there, Mike, as we're seeing a lot of 2 wide. And one of the things, I ran one of these race cars on one of the iRacing rigs, not in a pack of cars like this, but you have a lot of grip for about 2 or 3 laps. You can run wide open through 3 and 4, almost wide open through 1 and 2, but that right front tire will start to get worn out. As you see Michael McDowell being shoved to the outside in 3 and 4.
Way up the racetrack in that yellow Ford there. Ryan Preece chasing the 19. That is not Martin Truex. It's Bobby Labonte racing for Joe Gibbs in the 19 this week.
See Austin Dillon get moved off of that bottom groove by Daniel Suarez in that 96 car. Not able to complete the pass, though. And you heard Larry McReynolds talk about it. Strategy plays a big role, just like the draft plays a big role. You got to be real careful blocking, as I mentioned earlier, but you get that big run, that draft, but be careful if you get to the outside lane, because there's not any rubber laid down up there yet, and you can wear out that right front tire, which could play into your strategy. We saw in Homestead where that track's very abrasive. It's all about saving the tires and managing tire wear for that pit strategy. So we'll see. This is what I'm so excited about, seeing how that strategy plays out this weekend.
Nemechek with a look underneath Earnhardt, coming through the quad oval there, and now Landon Castle.
Oh, he was there, but Junior shut the door on him. Now Landon Castle. Now see, that's something, Mike, that last week at Homestead, you wouldn't have seen that driver lift into turn 1 like Landon Castle just did there. With 1 reset, you just don't have that luxury to fall back on. And then the momentum was lost to Landon Castle, allowing Ryan Preece to get to the inside and make that spot.
You are live in Landon Castle's basement, adorned with sponsorship, and hard at work there trying to hold on to 6th place.
Yeah, and unfortunately he's going to lose another spot here to Bobby Labonte as Bobby gets a big run in that 19 car. No, folks, that's not Martin Truex Jr., the 19. That's NASCAR champion Bobby Labonte, and Hall of Famer, actually.
Castle and Kligerman behind him. Kligerman in the 77, Austin Dillon in 8th, Daniel Suarez and Garrett Smithley round out the top 10. These pictures come to us from the iRacing studios outside Boston. That's where they are cutting the coverage of this race. We're adding some graphics and commentary. And thanks to iRacing for the quick turnaround of putting those numbers and names on these onboard shots to help us and you identify drivers.
And I can tell you over the years, Mike, I've never run an iRacing event, an actual league race. I've done a lot of driving with these rigs. As I mentioned before, the characteristics of the car and the feedback to you as a driver. Yes, it's visual, and you got a little bit of feedback through that wheel with your hands to know what the car is doing, but it is incredibly realistic. The bumps, the way the basic balance of the race car is, it's unreal, truly, how realistic it is.
No. You know, we talked about the experience of iRacing. When you look at William Byron up there in that 24 car, set on the pole, has almost 1,500 starts in iRacing with 292 wins. You look at Dale Earnhardt Jr. now, under this profile, we know he's done a lot of simulation, a lot of iRacing, but under this profile, Dale Earnhardt Jr. in the 8, 11 iRacing wins. So quite a difference experience up there running 1-2.
And Larry, I learned a lot last week with Dale Earnhardt Jr. Talked to him, talked to some other drivers. They say that he's one of the best at pacing himself to make his strategy work for not wearing out those tires. I really believe right there, he saw John Hunter Nemechek pressuring him. He lifted and fell in line behind him because he just doesn't want to put too much heat into that right front and wear that right front tire out on this first run.
Look in the rearview mirror in the upper right corner of it. You can see the car behind following closely. The realism here is just unbelievable. The depths that they've gone to, not just to model what these tracks look like and what these cars look like, but every possible facet of what it's like to race other than the G-forces.
And it's so realistic. I mean, it just blows my mind when I watch it, Mike, and I heard that from a lot of fans that watched that race last weekend. But it's also realistic if you're actually competing in this. I want to really highlight Parker Kligerman. Parker Kligerman, just a great personality, great racer, and very talented when it comes to the amount of laps and experience and his results in iRacing. And then here's Christopher Bell. Christopher Bell moving up to the Cup Series, a rookie in the Cup Series this year, and having a great showing here in the top 10 so far in this event.
I noticed they even have video running on Big Hoss, the big screen at Texas Motor Speedway. And by the way, if you follow Texas Motor Speedway on Twitter, they do their live giveaway as they do for every race, prizes every 15 laps.
We're actually seeing a little bit of a battle for the lead here with William Byron and John Hunter Nemechek. Again, there's a lot to pacing, to holding those tires, holding on to the tire life. And I think John Hunter Nemechek, he wants that lead. He wants that clean air. Something else that is going to play a big role. So 3 and 4, I mentioned, is wide open. You don't have to lift the throttle. But if we go on board here with John Hunter Nemechek, let's listen to his throttle 1 and 2. He should be lifting. So you heard right there, big lift as he got to the middle of the corner. That corner doesn't have quite the same banking. The grip's not quite the same. You have to lift. Through 3, 4, probably because of the draft. He did lift a tiny bit, but basically wide open. So what you do, how you drive the car into the corner, how much speed you carry it into turn 1 can play a big factor in how you get off the exit of turn 2. Again, Mike, pretty much just like the real thing.
The realism is awesome. William Byron, who decided he wanted to go racing after spending several years doing simulations in iRacing, and is now a NASCAR star. He's led every lap. Welcome back to Fox from the virtual Texas Motor Speedway. Landon Castle, upper left. Jimmy Johnson, upper right. And the lower left, that's Timmy Hill. And lower right is Kyle Larson as they compete in this 125-lap event. Folks, all the frustrations of real racing are present, including we had a lead change during commercial and a caution during commercial. Clint Boyer, you were just about stopped on track there. What's going on? What happened?
That wasn't just a caution, boys. That was a melee. Parking lot on the back straightaway. A bunch of cars were in it. Plan worked, strategy, me and Denny were riding around in the back, worked just like it planned. I tell you what, though, I don't know, we're still under green. There wasn't a caution. That was the problem with the caution. There wasn't a caution. So right now I'm trying to catch up. You guys are bothering me.
Sorry, we'll let you go. So evidently, they must have known we were in commercial. We did have a lead change. John Hunter Nemechek took the lead from William Byron. Ryan Preece moved up to second. That has now changed again. Byron posted back in the lead.
Here's a replay.
Here's what happened.
Yeah, you see the 18 of Kyle Busch on the outside. Goes wide through 1 and 2. Oh, looks like he and Ryan Blaney make contact. Cars spinning around, flipping through the air. A bunch of cars came to a stop.
Don't you love the way TV says made contact? When somebody just knocks the crap out of somebody else, that'll happen in big-time racing.
But that's what I love so much about this is, you know, we get to see these shots of these guys, their face, how intense the focus is. They get to communicate with one another. So who knows what Ryan Blaney and Kyle Busch may have been saying to one another, but we'll try to see if we can't capture it.
But the good thing is, no matter how badly those cars were damaged, they do get one fast repair or a reset to come back out of the pits and get back at it. There'll likely be a lap or two down.
You know, you saw William Byron kind of putting a block on John Hunter Nemechek in the 38, now Ryan Preece in the 37. These drivers actually have spotters. You may say, how in the world does a spotter spot? That spotter has every single camera shot that's available to iRacing. They can actually do like a drone shot or a blimp shot, and that's how they're doing spotting. And I listened to some spotters last week. They are non-stop talking, a lot like Boyer.
Okay, here are your leaders. William Byron, who after a lot of sim racing decided and asked his dad, said, I'd like to try this. They ran legend cars. And, oh, now caution is out. Well, let's see what that's about, since obviously it's not on our line feed that we have here. But there's going to be a couple cars come through the tri-oval.
I can tell you what it's for. It's for some of these guys to get down pit road like Kyle Busch and in the 95 there, Christopher Bell, and get some repairs done. You see the 19 of Bobby Labonte and the 3 of Austin Dillon. Oh, maybe a little contact, and then the 95 of Christopher Bell checks up, gets turned around by Michael McDowell.
Now, apparently, Kyle Busch and some of those other drivers did not use their reset. That's why their cars appeared damaged from the earlier crash, are still out there saving that reset for later.
Now, Mike, we've run 28 laps, and I've watched the pace. It had slowed down roughly a second. I think you're going to see everybody come to pit road and get 4 fresh tires, and that kind of makes it more so a one-stop race if you pit right here.
So, Larry, how many sets do they have?
Any amount you want.
Infinity.
That's hardly real racing, and they're free. So, here we go. Byron leads them on the pit road. Byron, Preece, Nemechek, Castle, Earnhardt.
Be curious to see if we see any 2-tire stops here. I don't think they wear the left sides a lot. The heat and the air pressures in those left sides, like in real life, but the right sides definitely wear a lot more.
Now the drivers will see the signboard to come in and stop in their pit, and the drivers will see their pit crew working on the cars. What we see in this shot are the right side going up for right side tires, and we see the left side going up. The complete pit crews are not rendered for these views that are sent to air.
And you can miss your pit box. I think that may have been what happened to Alex Bowman, unless he just came in and took just a splash of fuel.
So we are under caution for Michael McDowell. There's Kyle Busch getting turned around with Ryan Blaney. That did not bring out a caution. However, the second one of these, this one with Christopher Bell, did. Welcome back to Texas Motor Speedway. Tonight, Fox presents the iHeart Living Room Concert for America to raise money for Feeding America and the First Responders Children's Foundation. Elton John will host, and look at that all-star lineup of performers who will appear on this 1-hour special tonight. 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific, across all Fox channels, apps, and websites. You won't want to miss it. Everybody's active on Twitter following along here. Hey, Kenny Walrus. Watching as if it's real.
Listen,
so are we.
I'm calling it as if it's
That's
real
right.
too. It's nice though when they have that reset button when they're flying through the air.
All right, Kyle Busch may have been the driver who got the free pass on that caution flag, trying to verify that, but he is back at the tail end of the lead lap after damage earlier. And we're set to go green. That's the camera on the pace car. Kip Childress sends it to pit road.
Green flag, green flag.
And green flag. There it is.
And Mike, I didn't see any 2-tire stops. Maybe pretty much all 4-tire stops. as we mentioned before we went to break, it did look like Alex Bowman, we confirmed that he did miss his pit stall, so had to come back down pit road.
Nemechek chasing Byron. John Hunter Nemechek, second-generation driver. His dad, long known as Front Row Joe, for his qualifying prowess. And John Hunter, who started racing at a tender young age in the front yard on a motocross track that his dad built on 2 wheels. Ryan Preece to the outside, modified champion and now driver for JTG Doherty in his second year.
And we're starting to see Garrett Smithley come into the picture here, Mike. We saw he was very strong last week at Homestead, led a bunch of laps there late in the race. And you see him on the inside in the number 51 car, right, coming to the rear bumper of Daniel Suarez in that 96.
Up the outside comes Landon Castle in the 89. This battle back at 7th place.
And you're also seeing some drivers that came through our qualifying race earlier. There's a 33 of Alfredo, Anthony Alfredo, and right behind Anthony is Ruben Garcia, who was also one of those drivers. He's back in the number 27 car. There you see the blue and white car that transferred through. Those guys are really talented and experienced iRacers, so watch for them to come up through the field and be a factor.
39 NASCAR championships represented in this field. Champions from Cup to the K&N East and West to Modifieds, and of course Xfinity and the Truck Series, including Ruben Garcia.
Haven't heard a whole lot from our winner last week, Mike, Denny Hamlin. Curious to know, is he playing a strategy? Is he, does he feel like maybe there's going to be a lot of incident? And we heard Clint Boyer talk about he was saving tires back there with Denny Hamlin. Is that the strategy right now at this point in the race for those guys? And there's Timmy Hill.
Now that steering wheel and pedals, he's got about $250 invested, which is well short of Denny Hamlin's alleged $40,000 sim rig.
Or maybe higher.
And that steering wheel is clamped onto Timmy's desk. And his desktop computer provides the power and the images and just a single desktop monitor.
And I actually had to chuckle. We talked to Timmy earlier, and he said, yeah, I tried one of those trick rigs and different types of wheel setups. I like this one better. I think I can make faster laps. Timmy was actually ranked #1 in the world in iRacing back several years ago. He actually got onto iRacing to learn tracks. He knew he was going to start a NASCAR career. He had to learn these tracks. The only way to do that, other than getting on the track in a real car, which was very limited, was to get onto iRacing.
Oh, no, wait a minute, Larry. This is all too real. Not only does Earnhardt have his name on the dash for the onboard view, his sponsor is right alongside it.
Yeah, this is a different sponsor from last week, and he's got Hellman's on there. But I do want to go back, Mike, to Timmy Hill. We talked about the experience level of iRacing. He goes to the top of the charts. How about 1,676 iRacing starts, 673 trips to victory lane? I'd say that's pretty good experience.
Oh, caution. Back about 12th, 14th place. We saw the smoke.
I saw cars fly through the screen and into the wall.
Oh, boy. Hope everyone's okay. Second caution of the day at lap 40. Riding with Ryan Preece there. Let's see what happened, Jeff.
We're on board here now with Anthony Alfredo. Right in front of him, Timmy Hill. See, Smithley got a bit of a run. Maybe had to check out. Now Alfredo goes to the inside. Oh, somebody clips him in the right rear and spins him around. Woo. I'm dizzy from that ride.
Me too. Well, hopefully we'll get another look. So there is Alfredo in the pits. You can see the whole front end is off that car. And so he will need his fast repair right now.
Yeah, he certainly will. Now they're coming back down pit road.
Pits are open, Larry. What do you want to do?
Yeah, this kind of surprises me here because they had only run 8 laps. Back to Jeff's point earlier, this might be where we see fuel only or maybe just 2 tires.
Now here's on board over the shoulder, Clint Bowyer. Let's see what the drivers actually see when you're on one of these rigs. You see all those pit signs. You got to look for that pit sign. You can drive through one another's pit stalls and cars, so don't get alarmed when that happens. But you have to stop in that box on your pit sign, which easier said than done. Looked like Clint maybe overshot it a little bit. There's that pit sign.
Yep.
Come on, man!
Hey, Clint, you missed that sign in that box, buddy.
Well, I can't get used to driving through somebody's car to find it, can't find the box. Boy, I messed that up bad.
Clint, you've been driving through people's cars your entire career.
Larry.
Oh, come on, boys. The sign wasn't there.
That was a low blow, Larry.
Hey, what didn't come from me, though, Bowyer?
He was looking at the back of that Mustang. He couldn't see the sign.
Honestly, guys, all kidding aside, it's extremely hard to figure out where your pit box is, especially when you qualified as bad as I did. But having to drive through that car is really tricky, and then I just blew through the corner. But it's all, I'm just riding around the back. You see these boys using the reduce. It's all good.
All right, Clint Bowyer is in 32nd place after that pit stop. And there is his view of Texas Motor Speedway. Getting ready for the restart in Texas. You're riding with Landon Cassill. Landon, how do you get to the bottom and save those tires all at the same time?
Yeah, you got to find a hole on the restarts to get to the bottom, but I'm just really trying to save tires. I think these guys are going to settle down and go for a long run, and you know, I know that I can capitalize on that in this Blue Emu Chevy. So you got to use a little bit of brake in 1 and 2 on long runs, get the nose turning, and save that right front tire.
All right, have fun. Nice product placement, by the way.
Yeah, take care of those sponsors.
All right, Denny Hamlin.
You like that?
Yeah,
Let's
Chase
go.
Elliott, Ty Dillon did not stop. William Byron, Parker Kligerman took 2 tires. Everybody else got 4. Yeah, there's the green flag.
We saw Denny Hamlin use a strategy similar to this last week where he came, I think he actually took 2 tires. This time he just stayed out to get that track position. See if that pays off, or if we get a long run here, that might actually hurt him. Looks like we're going 3 wide down the back straightaway. Parker Kligerman trying to get to the inside of Ty Dillon to make it 3 wide. Not quite. Dale Jr. stuck in the outside. And here goes Chase Elliott with his teammate William Byron pushing to take the lead from Denny Hamlin.
And you see the tweet from Alex Bowman that he missed his pit box.
So first he missed the pit box, and I hate to say it because we haven't gotten his tweet yet, that last time he was speeding on pit road. So troubles for the 88 on pit road today. Now it looks like Chase Elliott is going wide as William Byron takes the lead back with those 4 fresh tires. You know, Mike, I definitely see, and it could be the characteristics of this track, or it could be that there's only one reset. I'm seeing a lot more give and take this week. Last week, if you had even an inch to the inside of their rear bumper, they were not lifting last week. This week, they're having to check up a little bit.
You know, Jeff, I want to go back to your comment about Alex Bowman speeding, and of course that was under caution. A little different penalty in iRacing. It's a 40-second hold penalty in the pit box, and it must be served after the restart under green.
Wow,
that's a huge penalty.
Kligerman dives to the inside on Hamlin. And here is Alex Bowman trying to get back to the front, working on Kurt Busch. Eric Jones in the 20, Jimmy Johnson in the 48, Johnson in 24th place.
Yeah, and so far, Bowman was able to stay on the lead lap serving that penalty. I know these Hendrick guys, you know, I know a lot of these drivers, and they have been working extremely hard with some of their fellow teammates at Hendrick Motorsports to get ready and practice. I know a lot of drivers are practicing a lot more this week than they were last week.
Well, I call it serious fun.
Exactly.
You know, these fellas are competitors. Yep.
Well, yeah, you can't do what these guys do and not be serious about wanting to compete and run up front. And then when you realize that the amount of experience that it takes to learn this type of racing and get used to that visual aspect of it versus the feeling that you have in your seat of your pants in a real race car and those vibrations and and you know the noises and all those other things. You don't have all those luxuries, so it takes a lot of laps and experience to learn how it works.
See the 21 of Matt DiBenedetto in that group. John Wood of the Wood Brothers came up with an idea on Twitter. Once visitors were no longer being allowed in nursing homes, and Wood Brothers Racing has raised $33,000 from over 1,200 individual donors to buy 212 computer tablets that have been sent to 12 nursing homes so patients can have them and they can Skype or FaceTime with their loved ones who are unable to visit. Just one of many wonderful gestures by the whole NASCAR community.
That's what I was going to say, Mike. We've got such a generous community, and this opportunity that gives them a chance to get out there and race, gives them a chance to connect with their fans, but it really gets the community engaged in giving back and doing things. Everybody recognizes where things are at in the world and in this country, and doing all that they can while they're able to also come here and put on a great show racing. That's fantastic.
Here comes Hamlin, working his way, continuing to climb up through the field. Kyle Larson hard at work. He's in 6th place. That's Garrett Smithley just ahead with some damage to the rear of his Camaro. And on the outside, Parker Kligerman.
Don't think any of that kind of damage to the rear bumper of Garrett Smithley is going to be, it hasn't seemed to hinder him so far. I'm sure if it was a front fender or splitter on the right rear, maybe with the affecting the spoiler, that would be an issue they might have to fix, but I don't think this is anything Garrett Smithley needs to worry about.
Smithley, one of the pre-race favorites for this. Is that your spotter, Kyle? Standing behind you? It could be. Backseat driver. Timmy Hill goes by on the inside. Back up toward the front, John Hunter Nemechek second to Ryan Preece, who has taken over the lead. So
a lot of credit to Ryan Preece. I thought he had a fantastic race last week, and this week he showed it in qualifying and in practice, and now here in the race. I wouldn't be surprised, Mike, again, if Ryan Preece is one of those guys, as he came to NASCAR, knew that he was going to start running stock cars in the Xfinity and Cup level. If he didn't start using iRacing to get himself tuned up, to understand how the tracks and the cars characteristics work, it is that realistic that these guys do learn a lot from it, especially when they're trying to learn a racetrack.
So much to adapt to, and that has been his focus. All right, Nemechek had a look for the lead, was going to take Byron with him, but Preece slammed the door down on the inside.
And Kligerman goes to the inside of Garrett Smithley. Momentum so important. Remember, this is realistic to the point of 550 horsepower in these cars, so it's easy to lose momentum, as we saw Garrett Smithley that last time off of turn 2. 27-year-old out of Pennsylvania. That's not bad. 1,200 starts, 146 wins.
What's that, about 12%? That's close to Hall of Fame material there.
I'll take those numbers.
Smithley had a flower shop in Pennsylvania on his car last week, and they got a lot of good pub from it on FS1. He and Timmy Hill, nose to tail. A lot of experience on these. The drivers called them rigs, simulation, short for simulation rigs. You can hardly call this gaming. And you've got a good sense now of just how real this simulation is. 57 down, Larry.
Well, after only running 8 laps when that last caution came out, I thought staying out or doing 2 tires was the right way to go. And remember, Denny Hamlin, Chase Elliott, and Ty Dillon all stayed out. That has not paid off. Denny Hamlin is the highest running of those 3. He's fallen all the way back to 17th. I talked about these drivers having a spotter. They actually have a crew chief that works with them on strategy, that's in communication. And when it comes to strategy call, whether it's fuel, 2 tires or 4 tires, either the driver can make the call or the crew chief made the call. Based on my experience as a crew chief for 18 years, it never worked out when the driver made the call.
Well, except here, Larry, the crew chief doesn't even have to be in the same state. He just has to be hooked in. Here are your Toyota top performers: Parker Kligerman, Timmy Hill, Daniel Suarez, and Denny Hamlin. back there in 17th. Those fellas at the top could take a snapshot of this. It would look good in their sponsor presentation.
and yeah, going back to what Larry's talking about, you know, the driver always wants the most grip that they could possibly get. They're not always thinking about clean air or aerodynamics. They just want grip, grip, grip. And when you can see the overall big picture like a crew chief can from the box, usually the better calls come there. And here's a battle for the lead. John Hunter Nemechek going to the inside of Ryan Preece.
Preece trying to keep him pinned to the bottom of the racetrack. That didn't work, so they separate, and Nemechek is going to lead this lap.
And I just believe that the bottom lane is the preferred lane. These cars will lay rubber in those outside lanes, but there's just not enough cars out there to allow that outside groove to really come in to have the grip. Through 3 and 4, you can stay side by side, but 1 and 2 a little bit harder to do because of how much you have to lift out of the throttle.
And Jeff, we can see as this green flag run goes on how much rubber is being laid down in those corners and in what groove.
Yeah, this is a dynamic modeling that iRacing does, so weather can change, track temperature can change, rubber laid down. You can see, Ryan Preece trying to get in behind William Byron, makes a little contact, possibly there with Kligerman. Luckily, he didn't go around.
And we both about jumped out of our seats.
Hey, it feels real from where I'm sitting. I'm sure it does for these guys, too.
So Preece gets high-sided to the back of that train, back to 7th place after leading here in Texas.
And right behind Ryan Preece, somebody coming into the picture, one of the favorites, Ty Majeski. Let's look back at this contact. You see Ryan Preece in the 37 on the outside of the 24. Does he clip the 24? Yeah, I think he actually touches the right rear of the 24, William Byron, and that caused him to have to check up a little bit and lose that momentum.
Halfway in Texas with John Hunter Nemechek out in front of William Byron, Parker Kligerman, Timmy Hill, Alex Labbe. And there is Hill hard at work in 4th place.
Up on the wheel, Timmy Hill. I love his position. I mean, he is all over that wheel. Very focused. Look at his eyes looking up in the mirror. Just like in a race car, you'll tip your head to the inside even though you're not feeling the G-forces. It's just the way you're trained to go through a corner. No blinking. No blinking. Of course, he's having a little conversation maybe with his spotter or some others that he's in contact there with.
You saw a quick look up at the mirror and then back down. Now, of the 4 drivers who transferred from the qualifying race, 3 of them are up in the top 10 and coming, led by Alex Labbe in 5th in the 90. Hill with a move.
Yeah, and luckily Parker Kligerman made a really smart decision right there. His spotter, I'm sure, played a role. He tried to block that move and then at the last second moved up. That prevented a big wreck from happening. There's the 90 of Alex Labbe, the winner of that qualifying race. Here we go on board with Alex, Henty Series champion from Canada. And clearly a lot of experience also in the iRacing community because he showed a lot of speed in that qualifying race. We watched that earlier, showed you some highlights as we came on the air, and is moving up through this field nicely.
And Garrett Smithley coming right along with him, who figured in last week's results. There in the 51. So right there, Hill, Labbe, and Smithley, 3 very experienced iRacers, trying to take it to John Hunter Nemechek and William Byron. Jeff, over at Hendrick Motorsports, what has been going on there since they're not building race cars and they're not getting ready to go to Texas or Bristol in the real sense? What's being done over at Hendrick for these drivers competing on iRacing?
Well, and I'm sure it's not just Hendrick, but these organizations know that there's nothing that they can really do back at the shop, but what they can do is support iRacing. And when they see their drivers and their cars and their sponsors out there, the engineers, the crew chiefs get just as involved as these drivers do, and some of them are really in the iRacing world, maybe even more knowledgeable than the drivers are, and so they've been having practice sessions and getting as many laps as possible, maybe even running through some different tire saving strategies or pit strategies.
70 laps complete next time by. William Byron back at the front and still 32 cars back to Kurt Busch on the lead lap. Well, it's a beautiful Sunday in Dallas, Texas. How about time for a good old Fox NASCAR?
Crank it up.
.72 laps and Byron showing no signs of giving up the lead. Nemechek made his actual Cup debut at Texas last fall. He was substitute driving for Matt Tifft, with Tifft unable to return to competition this spring. Nemechek got a chance at the ride full time, and he is one of 6 drivers contending for Rookie of the Year in the NASCAR Cup Series this season.
Oh, we got Dale Earnhardt Jr. having an issue. Is that a tire issue? He's running pretty slow, like he's got, yeah, you can see he's got damage to the right front. So an issue for Dale Earnhardt Jr. Gonna probably have to come down pit road to fix that.
He has dropped to 19th.
So strong last week. Looked like he had it coming down to the final lap. Great battle, great save by Dale Earnhardt Jr. coming off that final corner to just keep that car under control and finish second. Disappointing here on lap 74 for Dale Jr. though. Mike, right before that, I was going to point out something. Every driver in the top 10 is under the age of 30. Now, we talk about video games versus simulation and sim racing. Now, let's go back and check out Dale Earnhardt Jr. This is coming off of turn 4. Yeah, it looks like, oh boy, either, I think that may have been a tire issue going down. Looks like it just went straight into the outside wall. Let's go on board. Well, I don't know. It just looked to me like maybe that car was tight. He was a little bit further back in some dirty air. It looked like he tried to hold it closer to wide open, and the car just got a little bit wide.
Good thing that quad oval area there is paved. Now, he has not pitted. He is in 23rd and still on the lead lap.
Well, he's gonna, I think he knows if he comes down pit road, he's probably got to wait for a potential caution to come out, because if he comes down pit road, he's pretty much out of this race.
You know, guys, we have been on a long enough run here. Whether you're Denny Hamlin, Chase Elliott, and Ty Dillon that did not pit the last caution, or everybody that did, you can run somewhere between lap 90 and 100 on fuel. But with the pace that's slowing down, I think here in the next few laps, we may see some drivers try to split that run in half, and somewhere between 80 and lap 85, you might see some of them coming to pit road trying to take full advantage of those fresh tires, just splitting that run in half.
Thanks, Larry. Kyle Busch has climbed his way up to 11th spot. Haven't mentioned his name much today. And there's our quad shot of drivers hard at work here in the 125-lap race at Texas Motor Speedway. "82 laps complete in Fort Worth, Texas. The NASCAR Foundation is working with the American Red Cross during this troubling time. There is the website where you can make a donation. And there is Clint Bowyer battling Kyle Larson and Chase Elliott. During commercial, Jeff was trying to do a little spotting for you there, Clint.
Yeah, I know, Clint, when we come to your shot, you can't hear your spotter, so I'll try to do something for you. That 42 of Larson's on 2 tires. Go get him.
I tell you, even worse than him, I passed Chase 42 got loose. Of course, Chase took advantage of it. Man, it's aggravation. I don't know why I'm being a wuss here. In real life, I'd have done punted him already. But in virtual, I won't do it. So as soon as I get to the 9, he better move. It's coming through, baby.
Yeah, but in real life, you don't get a reset. Here you do.
I know it. My mind's twisted. I don't know what's happening. I got him, though.
Hey, Clint, you're 24th. You've fallen off 2 seconds. Why don't you hit pit road and make me look like I know what the hell I'm talking about?
Because I'm afraid you don't know what you're talking about.
Hey, don't second guess the crew chief on the box there, driver.
Yeah, exactly.
And fresh tires will feel awfully good, Clint.
Engage, boys. Here we go.
In case you didn't know it, there's a bunch of pit stops happening, Clint. Oh, don't run into the 42. I think you might be coming to pit road.
Pitting?
Yeah, there's some boys on pit road, by the way.
Oh, so Larry wasn't full of bull. He knew what he was talking about. All right, from now on, Jeff, you're fired. Larry, you're in. I'm listening from now on.
Jeff's more expensive than I am.
Oh, no doubt about that.
All right, Clint's up to 21st. Alex Bowman among those who have pitted. Ricky Stenhouse, Kurt Busch, Chris Buescher.
Think about a pit.
How about now?
Oh, we got John Hunter Nemechek trying to get on pit road without having a bunch of issues. Man.
How long can I go?
The orange cone looked very nervous.
Well, one of the things I've learned, Mike, is that you don't have a signal to stick your hand out the window to point back to these drivers behind you to show them you're pitting.
So Nemechek took Larry's advice, and he will pit here at lap 87. That leaves William Byron out there kind of by himself.
Boy, really, that opened up the door to allow the 24 of William Byron in this Exalted Chevrolet to stretch it out on second place, Alex Labbe. So now it's going to come all down to getting onto pit road. I've heard, Mike, that the guys that are experienced at iRacing, that's where they separate themselves, is knowing how far to push the car getting onto pit road to make up that valuable time right there, or not lose that valuable time.
Alex Labbe up for second, and also from the qualifying race, Ty Majeski fourth, Ruben Garcia fifth.
And here comes our leader, and I think I saw second place Labbe coming along
and
with
spins!
him. Oh.
Almost.
Now he just hopes that he doesn't get a speeding penalty if he came through that first box too quick.
So Greg Biffle leading the pits as Labbe was coming in. So Majeski is the new leader. Ryan Preece trying to change that and take the lead back in the 37.
All those talented, and you see the 37 of Preece trying to make it to pit road along with Kligerman. Ooh, were they speeding? Man, these guys are, okay, there's the yellow cone. So it looks like they got down to pit road speed at that yellow cone.
Smithley and Kligerman in the pits.
Issue for Ty Dillon there, rolling slow.
And Majeski's your leader. Garcia with him. McDowell. And Chase Elliott, if that graphic's correct, hasn't been on pit road since lap 28.
Yeah, Ty Dillon may be out of fuel. Remember, he did not pit that last caution.
So here come the leaders, Majeski and Garcia, as we cycle through green flag pit stops. Michael McDowell will inherit the lead from Austin Dillon and Bobby Labonte.
And just like in the real world, Mike, this is a difficult pit road to get onto,
yes,
especially when you have trouble signaling to those drivers behind you that you're coming to pit road, but you're carrying so much speed through 3 and 4 before you peel off onto pit road.
Larry, Chase Elliott has got to be close on fuel.
Yeah, by my calculations in the fuel window, he should only be able to run within about another 2 to 4 laps, Mike, because remember, he did not pit that last caution. In fact, there he is now on pit road.
.92 complete, 33 to go as Chase makes his stop. And Michael McDowell is out front from Austin Dillon and Dale Earnhardt Jr.
And you can see laps from the last pit stop on our pylon showing you 41 laps from the last time that McDowell was on pit road.
Look how much faster Timmy Hill is on fresher tires as he goes past the leaders. And Kyle Larson comes in.
Yes, so I actually meant lap 41 was the last time that they were on pit road, right. So that means they will be having to come down soon as Larson comes into his box.
You know, Jeff, one thing these drivers do have on their digital dash that we do not have in NASCAR, they actually have a fuel gauge. It truly tells them How many gallons is left in the fuel cell? Same size fuel cell, about 19 gallons is now Michael McDowell in the 34, as well as Jimmie Johnson in that 48 there hitting pit road.
That'll turn the lead back to Dale Jr. Kligerman trying to unlap himself after a stop along with Smithley and Preece, and they do so pretty handily. So that means only three or four drivers are still out there from lap 40 or so, including Earnhardt, Ross Chastain, Kurt Busch, and Ricky Stenhouse. Bubba Wallace in the 43.
Really surprised that the 8 here of Dale Earnhardt Jr. has not come down pit road. I just wonder if he's trying to play that, just like we see in the real world sometimes. We've seen guys like Paul Wolfe pull this strategy of hoping that a caution comes out. And we know that he's got a little bit of damage on the 8 of Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s, and just playing that card before he comes down pit road. But I thought he'd be one of the first cars on pit road with some of that damage.
Jeff, he can run about another 6 to 8 laps on fuel. That's the only way this pays off. You can see how fresh tires just blow by him, is if he catches a caution. That's the only way it pays off.
Well, waiting for a caution here is going to be a little like waiting for yesterday's train. Could be a long wait.
A long wait.
Roush Fenway Racing among those that donated cases of masks to local hospitals. So did Eldora Speedway. They had about 3,000 masks on hand that they donated to local health care providers. Among the very many charity initiatives. And Jeff, you and Jimmie Johnson both did public service announcements for the governor here.
Yeah, you know, just trying to, again, get that message out there, how important it is. You know, stay indoors. If you're not feeling well, make sure that you let people around you know. Get to see a doctor. Wash your hands very thoroughly. And the tricky one that I didn't realize until all this came about is how hard it is to not touch your face. And I realized that I'm washing my hands a lot more because I touch my face a lot. So yeah, just being able to get some of those message out to North Carolinians. I'm a proud resident of this state here in Charlotte, in North Carolina, and was proud to be able to ask and work with Jimmie Johnson, and I believe even the King made a little appearance in that video.
So here is William Byron, who after his pit stop 9 laps ago has worked his way back up to 3rd place. And it leaves just Kurt Busch, Ross Chastain, and race leader Dale Earnhardt Jr. as those who have not yet made this pit stop under green in Texas. Hubba Dubba, Race Hub is back in a modified remote format beginning tomorrow at 6 p.m. A 1-hour show Monday to Thursday with hosts and analysts via Zoom video from their homes. And on each episode, Lindsay Czarniak will interview a driver and his family one-on-one via Zoom from their homes to look behind the scenes at their lives and new routines without racing. NASCAR Race Hub on FS1. Here at the virtual Texas Motor Speedway, 20 laps to go, William Byron in 2nd place, 5.6 seconds back of Dale Earnhardt Jr. Timmy Hill, John Hunter Nemechek, Ryan Preece, the top 5. Kligerman, Smithley, LeBay, Castle, and Kyle Busch, the top 10.
Pretty impressed. Dale Earnhardt Jr. still out there having pit. He's going to run that thing out of gas, I truly believe, before he comes down pit road. And it might be out of gas right now, slowing down. Dale Earnhardt Jr. in that number 8 car looks very, very slow down the back straightaway.
66 laps on this set of tires and tank of fuel.
Well, he's definitely coming to pit road this time. Right on board. You can see that transition, how difficult it is to get the car slowed down to get on pit road. And here's the new leader, William Byron in the 24 car. A lot of iRacing experience for this young man. Really, in so many ways, iRacing is what gave him his racing experience to get ready to go NASCAR racing.
Timmy Hill, John Hunter Nemechek, they're about 2 seconds back of William Byron. And their tires have just about the same number of laps, within 1 or 2, as Byron's. Ryan Preece, Kligerman, Smithley with a couple of laps fresher tires.
And you just wonder how much can you save on those tires until maybe 8-10 laps to go and have a burst of speed where maybe somebody out front like a William Byron running faster lap times, is he using too much of those right side tires up? Oh, he's got an incident there going into turn 3.
Not every incident produces a caution. iRacing officials, as there's Daniel Suarez all torn up, they have the ability to issue or withhold the caution, and there it is for Suarez. Well, I was wondering, Jeff, at 2 seconds deficit to William Byron, could Timmy Hill and John Hunter Nemechek have caught him with 15 to go under green?
Well, there is the clean air factor, that William Byron had. I mean, he had a nice green flag pit stop there. I think he was out there really able to pace himself, so I don't know if they were going to be able to close it up, but the last thing William Byron wanted to see was that caution came out right there.
Art imitates life.
Doesn't it?
Yeah.
Now, we go to our crew chief, Larry McReynolds. What do you do now?
Well, I had not seen what happened earlier where just after running 8 laps, how much fresh tires made a difference. I would say you're going to see varying strategy here. I still believe that. We have 21 drivers on the lead lap. I think if you're in the back, you're going to roll the dice and do something different. That's the box that William Byron and the 24 and his crew chief's in. A lot of drivers are going to go opposite of what they do. If they stay out, others a pit, and vice versa. I think you're going to see strategy all over the places. We'll go back racing probably with about 11 or 12 laps to go.
Don't forget, Larry, last week, I know different racetrack, almost this exact same scenario played out for Denny Hamlin. He was one of those drivers that got 4 fresh tires and came from further back in the field to win that race. Looks like a lot of them are coming.
Yeah, Hamlin, unfortunately, is a lap down. Dale Earnhardt Jr. is probably the free pass car, according to our interpretation of scoring. So what should be the final pit stop of the day with 14 laps to go and most of our leaders on pit road.
Right side's up for our leader, William Byron. Drops the jack. Looks like they're going to come around and do the left side. So 4 tires for most of these leaders.
Now that white and blue car, I think that's Preece, may have taken just 2 for track position here as Byron wins the race off pit road. And no, that was LeBay actually, not Preece, who may have taken just 2 tires. I'm going to look at his stop time here. No, everybody's in the 14 to 15 second range for pit stops. That too is controlled by iRacing. There's a dithering there and a variance of about a second between crews for pit stops and at random.
Yeah, and if I look at the top 5, 6, 7 cars, there was only maybe a 1/10 or 2/10 of a second between pit crews. So I don't think that's going to really be a factor there. I do want to talk to Timmy Hill though. Let's go. Hey Timmy, how's it going so far? Tell us about your race, man. You're up there in what, 2nd place? Awesome.
Hey guys, having a lot of fun out here. This race has been quite a bit better. I'm sure you guys can tell these drivers really put the practice laps in. So heck of a job, these guys. A lot of green flag racing. I find myself sitting here in 2nd, and I think 4 tires is definitely the right call. These tires just are really going away from us. So I was trying to save all I could. I don't know if I was going to be able to run Willie B back down there. So excited to see this caution. The high line is kind of tough, so I'm hoping that I can get down right away, get back in line, and hopefully I can set them up for a pass.
All right, now, Timmy, you're a NASCAR driver, so give your sponsor a shout-out.
Yeah, happy to have roofclaim.com on board, and above this Toyota, they've been a big supporter of MBM Racing, so happy to have such a great group of people behind me, and it's nice to be up front running good, put on a good show for all of our people back home. So thank you so much for watching, and I hope the fans all are excited about this.
It's been a great race, Timmy. Good luck the rest of the way. We're anxious to see how it ends up, and man, it's been a lot of fun. Thank you.
All right, guys, thank you so much.
Timmy Hill, 3rd last week to Denny Hamlin and Dale Jr. That's pretty good company. 2nd right now to William Byron and John Hunter Nemechek. I believe the cars in front of Byron, but behind the pace car including Jimmie Johnson and Ty Dillon, are waiting to take the wave around when they get 1 to go. Well, how about a Geico race summary? Let's do that. After 112 laps, William Byron the leader. First of, it'll be 27 cars on the lead lap when those 5 cars cycle around. We've had 12 different leaders and 3 caution flags.
And I'm going to second what Timmy Hill mentioned. We've seen huge improvements from last week, just all these drivers gaining more experience, more laps. And I'm going to give a shout out to a guy that struggled a lot last week and has been practicing, I think, more than anybody, and that's 18 of Kyle Busch. We're so used to seeing him at the front of the field every single weekend, but you know, in iRacing, it's been a whole new world. And look at him right now, though, up in the top 10 and 10th position.
So for all the folks that say all we talk about is Kyle Busch, make note, we didn't even mention him till lap 100 today, okay?
That's right.
All right, time for some Larry McNuggets and a look at the trends.
Yeah, Mike, don't take to the bank that we're completely finished with cautions. How I'm doing my trends, I went back and looked at the last 10 spring Texas Cup races, and the last caution falls with about 8% of the race to go. If you take our 125 lap race today, 8%, that's roughly lap 115 with 10 to go. I'm not sure we're finished yet with cautions.
So we'll take the restart with 11 to go and see what kind of race we have for the finish. Most drivers still have their complete reset or iRacing fast repair still in the bank should they need it.
Oh, they're going to need it, Mike.
Well,
I don't know if it's going to be our guys that are up front, but they're going to need it. I mean, this thing's getting ready to get intense. No give and take, no lifting. You're going to see drafting play into this. Blocking's going to play into this. Big restart right here for William Byron.
Pack closes up tight. 27 lead lap cars. We're racing in Fort Worth.
Timmy Hill, really nice job getting down to that inside lane to stay in second place. See William Byron. Oh, we got to spin further back. Don't think that's going to bring out a caution, though. 51 of Smithley trying to look to the inside of John Hunter Nemechek.
Oh, that was Bowyer.
Oh, man, Bowyer.
Bowyer, what are you doing?
Oh, hey, this is the time we don't want to bring out a caution, Bowyer, because we got a heck of a battle going on up front.
Yeah, he got all turned around.
And you can see right here, William Byron, oh, caution does come out, already starting to run that low lane, knowing that a big run from Timmy Hill was coming and building.
And that would be with how many laps to go?
That would be a Larry McNugget, 10 to go. Clint, what happened?
I don't know who was on the outside of me. He wasn't getting me any room. I got loose and I got run over. It was a product of being where we're at. Man, I can't. The hardest part's figuring out if this guy's going to let it go green or if he's going to use cautions. I can't figure out the strategy of the sanction body.
Can you believe?
I think I saw you throw some debris out the window on that.
Yeah,
on that one.
That's the only thing you can't do virtually in this thing is put the hand gesture out the window, which is exactly what I wanted to do right there. Hey, pit road's open. I got to go. I've been messing this up all day long.
All right, good luck now. Bowyer goes to pit road. Maybe he'll use his reset now. I think he and Greg Biffle got together. Biffle making a return to racing for Roush Fenway after a while here. Yep, that's what happened.
Let's go, Ross. Let's go.
So we're under caution at Texas Motor Speedway. Caution with 10 laps to go, exactly as Larry McReynolds predicted.
All right, that's it. Go.
And away he goes, and we'll show you what happened here. That was on board with Biffle.
Yeah, let's keep Bowyer honest. He said that somebody was on his outside. That's Biffle. Yeah, Biffle may have pinched him off a little bit, but he definitely came up into Biffle. Oh. They made contact. Oh, DiBenedetto.
He took out Stenhouse, DiBenedetto, and Majeski, and Ty Dillon.
And Ty Majeski just not having a good go these first 2 Pro Invitationals. Yeah, I'm not so sure Biffle knew that Clint was on the inside, ran a little bit, quite a bit lower line.
All right,
Ty
Dillon. Just saw the 13. Yeah, Ty Dillon got turned around in that, and that has led the sanctioning body to park Daniel Suarez for intentionally crashing Ty Dillon.
Huh?
I don't make this stuff up.
Okay.
Here, you make the folks. You make the call.
So here's the 96 in the black car. Woo! Wow,
What?
he was definitely going for it, trying to wreck him. I don't think he succeeded.
That may be the worst job I've ever seen of trying to wreck somebody.
Well, Danica once. that didn't work well.
That definitely constitutes a black flag in parking a racer. And they do get involved in that in the iRacing league races.
Yeah, but now does Suarez have a dog?
He does.
Could the dog have been driving?
Oh, maybe the dog was driving.
That's what happened to Alex Bowman last week.
Yeah, that's what I'd blame it on.
Finn was driving and wrecked half the field. Bowman had to leave the room momentarily for a pit stop. Wow. I wonder if back when Dave Kemmer, who was a very successful programmer of racing games, Indy 500, Grand Prix Legends, he had this idea for a subscription service, got John Henry, the owner of Fenway Sports and co-owner of Roush Fenway Racing, involved to fund it. And they started iRacing up in Massachusetts about a decade and a half ago. And I wonder if in his wildest dreams, Dave Kemmer ever thought it would come to this.
Well, and people like myself, knowing some of these drivers and hearing about iRacing, a lot of that came through Dale Earnhardt Jr. So Dale Earnhardt Jr. has been instrumental also in getting this out there to the public. I don't know what his involvement with it is, but I don't think anybody in their wildest dreams ever realized that iRacing would grow like this and be so fascinating because of how authentic and real this truly is.
Absolutely. It's a fantastic platform. And while we are giving you NASCAR's news as it goes along, there's a bit of sad news to pass on. Wade Cole, longtime competitor on the Modified Tour, would love iRacing because fellas with low budgets and little to work with are just out there competing just as well as the fellows with the big money. And the driver who's been behind the wheel of a modified for over 40 years passed away about a week ago in his garage working on his tour car to get it ready for the season, and he will be missed by everybody on the Whelen Modified Tour. And 50 years ago, the man on the right, Larry Rathgeb, brought that winged Dodge to Talladega to test transmissions. That's why they rented the track, put Buddy Baker in it, and Baker became the first stock car racer to tour a closed course at 200 miles an hour. The Chrysler engineer passing this week at age 90. And certainly missed by Richard Petty's group and everybody who was ever a part of that Dodge racing program. Boy, they accomplished great things back then. You know, when Buddy Baker did 200 miles an hour in that wing car, the pole at Indy was only 177. Formula One cars were barely going 150 miles an hour. 200 was a really big deal.
Well, that was a very brave thing to be doing back in those days, too. Wow.
Well, you knew Buddy. He only had one way to drive.
That's right. He was the
flat out.
He was the guy that you definitely want to put behind the wheel if you're going to go set a speed record at Talladega.
We're going to go green this time. It's going to come out with 5 laps to go, a 5-lap shootout. Now, iRacing does have overtime, just as NASCAR does. The only difference is they have a limit of 3 attempts at overtime if needed. Green, white checker.
See William Byron trying to get some heat in those rear tires. Once that pace car pulls off, the leader is able to go right away. So watch, there's no restart box or anything like that. So watch that 24 launches. He gets the green flag here.
Timmy Hill dropped right in behind him. Car goes spinning. Bobby Labonte gets spun. Now, iRacing can stay green if that car is down and out of the way, as we're on 5 to go. Smithley third, Nemechek, Kligerman, Castle, and Preece.
And I think we've got, the top guys in iRacing and the NASCAR League combining to show who's got the real skill here. We saw where William Byron led the most laps last week, but finished 34th. He's looking to turn that around as you see Timmy Hill getting a big run to the rear bumper of the 24 of William Byron.
Little bump there going into one.
Here comes another bump.
Moves him up the hill.
Moves him up the hill.
And Timmy Hill takes the lead.
Now, what did Garrett Smithley learn from that move? Can he come back and do something similar to move Timmy Hill out of the way? Well, you can see William Byron, after losing that momentum, almost spinning around, goes up the racetrack, lost a bunch of positions. Now here comes Garrett Smithley. Will he do the same?
3 to go. Jeff, this is as good as it gets on a Sunday afternoon.
Oh, man, I mean, this racing is incredible. We saw it last week. We're seeing it again here, especially on these late restarts. Diving all the way to the apron on the back straightaway to go 3 wide.
That put Kligerman on the inside of Nemechek for third.
Oh,
bumps him up the hill.
Oh, no.
And Kligerman gets it, and Preece gets a shot down pit road, keeps his foot in it.
Oh, the caution is out.
Oh. Well, they're wrecking all up in the quad oval, and 3 laps to go. I think Ryan Preece might have got the worst of it out of that group as he comes back on track. Well, he posted third. Let's see how it sorts out here. Scoring shows Hill, Smithley, Preece, Castle, and Bowman at the line. Here's the first replay.
Yeah, you could see a big run from Timmy Hill, getting to the rear bumper of the 24 William Byron. William running that low line. I don't know if it made him have to get shallow. Ooh, he looked like he maybe clipped the apron to the left side, and then a little nudge from Hill moves him up the racetrack and takes the lead. I think Garrett Smithley was watching that, thinking about doing something very similar before that checkered flag came out.
Now, I'm not going to bore you with loop data or who was where the moment of caution was, or what was the last scoring loop they passed. iRacing says this is the order. Let's go with this.
I like the way they do things.
Well, it's a kinder, simpler Sunday than we're used to. Let's put it that way. How about Timmy Hill, journeyman driver who has struggled to make it in Cup racing for a full season after running in Xfinity, and he says, you know, when we come to the racetrack, our cars are 5 years old. They have 200 less horsepower. We're running on used tires. We're doing the best we can with what we have. But here in iRacing, everybody has the same opportunity, the same equipment, the same setup, and essentially the same bankroll.
And unlimited tires.
Well, that helps. That helps, but how neat it is to see a couple of these youngsters up front. Here's the most recent incident. Keep an eye on the 77.
Yeah, the 77 Kligerman. I think he may have clipped the apron, made his car, and there's a bump right there in the corner too. Made his car come up and make contact.
Yeah, a bunch of those other cars there went spinning.
Went
Look
for
at
a ride,
Preece.
and heck of a slide and a save right there. So here's on board the 24 William Byron trying to climb his way back.
Bowman just ahead, LeBay on the outside. And here's where it all went wrong.
And it was John Hunter Nemechek that I was trying to figure out who was on the outside of Kligerman.
Look at Preece go out. Oh, we had him going off into turn 1, climb the hill, but hold on to third place. That's one reason they called him Preece Lightning back in the modifieds. He just kept his foot in it, and he is the third place car. So, looks like we may go to overtime here in Texas. How about that?
Hey, Jimmy.
Have you got us?
You got us? No, I don't think so. Hey,
Yeah.
Jimmy, this is Jeff and Mike. You got us?
All right, so it's a no. Welcome back to Texas Motor Speedway, iRacing on Fox. NASCAR's best drivers having some fun on a Sunday afternoon, and we get to bring you along for the ride. Mike Joy, Jeff Gordon, Larry McReynolds with you. We're about to go into Credit One overtime from Credit One Bank. Green-white checker. If the leader takes the white under green, the next flag ends the race. iRacers Timmy Hill, Garrett Smithley, Ryan Preece, Landon Castle. Those front four have almost 900 iRacing wins between them. Right behind them, Alex Bowman, Parker Kligerman, William Byron, Dale Earnhardt Jr., Jimmy Johnson, and Kurt Busch, the top 10. 2 laps for all the virtual cash you can imagine, and a virtual Jostens ring commemorating this race.
Well, and you saw in that last restart how important it is for those guys to take this victory. It means a lot to them. They want that virtual Texas iRacing winner ring, as you see there on our screen, because you saw Timmy Hill lay the chrome horn to William Byron to take the lead. I expect more of that to come.
Pace cars in. Green-white checker, here we go.
Smithley not able to get to that inside lane.
Timmy Hill trying to give the field the goodbye look. Here is Preece on the inside. What a job he did to hold third place when that melee broke out. But Hill with a big lead.
And the more that those guys are racing side by side behind him, the better chance Timmy Hill has to break away. Big draft and run coming though from Preece.
All right, 1 lap to go. Sponsored by Credit One Bank. The leader takes the white on the track. The next flag ends the race. Preece is there.
Yeah, he really needs Landon Castle or Smithley in that outside to give him a push, and that's going to happen down the back straightaway. Maybe that can give him the momentum he needs to possibly get side by side with Timmy Hill.
Into turn 4 for the final time. Preece inches away, looks to the inside. Contact. Timmy Hill.
Wow.
Gets his 674th career iRacing win.
Another really close finish right at the line, just like last week.
Timmy, can you believe it?
No, he can't. Timmy, congratulations, man. Can you believe that?
Hey, how about that? Man, that was exciting. Man, I can't believe it. It was such a fun race there. I had to do a little boot scooting boogie here in Texas on Willie B, but I'm glad to pull the victory off for Roof Claim, MBM Motorsports, everybody back home. Get to do a little burnout here now. Look at this.
Yeah. I'm sorry, we don't have
it's exciting.
We don't have a virtual donut sponsor for you. We've been working on that. One of these days.
Timmy, what does this mean to you? I mean, you've been iRacing for a long time. You know, you're in the Cup Series, but it's one of those things where it's an underfunded team. What does this mean to you? You're in front of a huge audience watching this race throughout the country at you know, one of the toughest times that our country's seen in a long time, dealing with the coronavirus. What does this mean to you right now to be able to know all those folks are watching at home?
It means so much. I've got a tremendous amount of fans and friends and family all reach out to me and you know, really congratulate me for the recognition that we've been getting. You know, our team, myself, and our sponsors, a lot of times we don't get that recognition. So to finally kind of capitalize on that, pull off a win here in iRacing, I'm glad that iRacing and Fox and NASCAR really let us do this, because it's a tremendous feeling. The amount of messages I've already gotten, my phone's blowing up. I see we're trending on Twitter, and it's just a really nice feeling. I've been in the sport for 10 years now. This is my 10th season in NASCAR, so this is a win. So it's really neat to get this, and hopefully we can pull some wins off when we come back racing in the real world.
Well, congratulations on a great race today. Ryan Preece had your mirror filled up there on the last lap, and boy, you brought it home. Congratulations.
Yeah, congratulations.
Timmy Hill, the winner. Ryan Preece, Garrett Smithley, Landon Castle, Alex Bowman, the top 5. Dale Jr., William Byron, John Hunter Nemechek, Kyle Larson, and Kurt Busch, the top 10. 11th to our in-race reporter, Clint Boyer.
Boy.
Hey, there
man,
he
not
is.
bad, buddy. Hung in there.
What
you
a
fought
comeback.
hard for that.
Survival, guys. It was all about survival. The redo, I needed a redo. I got together with Biffle, the Biff, off of 2. I guess we were 3 wide. I didn't realize we were 3 wide. My spotter, Jeff Gordon, I had to fire him halfway through the race. Moved to Larry McReynolds. Larry said nothing. We were 3 wide. I collected a bunch of them. But again, a great time was had. Timmy Hill, big win for him, and you know, his brand. It's going to be a lot of fun to be able to compete in this over the next few weeks. But man, we're all in this together. Again, looking forward to next week, boys. Thanks.
All right, buddy. Thank you.
Thanks for being with us, Clint. We'll see you next Sunday. Next Sunday, iRacing continues short track style from the virtual Bristol Motor Speedway in Tennessee. 1 Eastern on Fox and FS1. Tomorrow, 6 p.m. Eastern, Race Hub is back on FS1. And tonight on Fox and FS1, 9 p.m., Fox presents the iHeart Living Room Concert for America.